All right, if you look at the top of my homepage, most of you have seen the picture, perhaps there or elsewhere. Norway, a truly bizarre apparition, as it were, in the sky, difficult to describe easily, so take a look at it. The Russians came out today, I guess around 24 hours after the original photographs began to run all over the internet, and said it was an out-of-control MIRVed ICBM test. Having looked at hundreds, I don't know, of Vandenberg launches in Southern California, when they put them off at, excuse me, twilight or dusk, and the rocket rises, and the upper atmospheric winds push the contrail in strange ways, not quite as exacting as these, and then as it gets up into the upper ionosphere, stratosphere, and then goes into space, it's up into the sun, and it turns into, anyway, you can watch the whole thing. So I could project that on this and understand how it could be. But Clif is telling me that he's picked up other information, and I am all ears. Please.
Yeah, there's a couple of issues there. First off, I don't believe in meaningless coincidence. So the fact that we have the Copenhagen and then the Nobel Prize stuff and this occurrence all at the same time is a big Okay, then there's the other issue. There's no element of chaos in that image, in either the video or in stills or any of it. All the reports are that it was an organized, discrete event. There was no element of chaos. And so the claim that it was a dually punctured rocket that was rotating it just doesn't hold up. Excuse me.
Well, let me say one other thing quickly while you're clearing up there. I've watched, again, so many launches. I have never seen one even close to being that precise in its layout. That is remarkable. So that's quite a scene, and I hope all of you take a look at it. We don't know what it is for sure. The Russians may have just put out a story to do, again, some kind of a public service.
Well, they're actually covering up their other work in that area.
No, I wouldn't be surprised.
The source of this, the island for which the thing was theoretically aimed, is actually the source of one of their woodpecker installations, their HAARP. And there's these three fellows, an Uzbeki, a Russian, and a German, that have this radio station, and they broadcast probably what we would think of as pirate. And I've been listening to it because I can pick up on the German and some of the Russian. And really what they're describing is that the whole rocket thing is a cover for a demonstration of a destruction of the actual ether by the HAARP installation in Russia as a warning or whatever to the people that were attending to the military people that are involved in the Copenhagen.
Oh, that's interesting.
Right.
Explain to me destruction of the ether for our listeners.
The ether is a concept that dates back to the Greeks, but it's also called the Dirac Sea or the 0 point medium, and it basically is the dark energy stuff that you always hear the NASA scientists blathering on about. It doesn't really exist as they think it does. But nonetheless, it is the point from which continuous creation and matter appears, if you follow hyperdimensional physics and torsion physics and all of that. Anyway, the statement from the Russian, who's a very knowledgeable scientist, you can tell just from listening to him, is that the whole point of this was not the spiral or the interesting little blue effect or the glowing anything. It was that black hole that seemed to open up there and expand, and it was an actual demonstration that you can send missiles at us or do anything you want, and look, we can actually destroy the place at which matter is created.
Wow.
And they created a gravitational hole there. There's reports out of Finland that there was a large dip in the gravitational wave or of their sensors that was the equivalent of 10 or 20 airplanes while this was going on. And apparently they have these sensors all over the planet that would literally pick up a large airplane flying over you and the distortion it makes in local gravity. And so the Russian was citing the stuff from the Finns about what was going on. They thought all their instruments were breaking, and they were unaware of what was actually occurring. But
Wow.
the after effect or the blowback from this was being overshot them, and it distorted local gravity.
Well, I've never seen a rocket leave a trail like this anywhere near it. Not
Yeah,
close.
with that blue light going back to the HAARP installation, it's kind of like a.
And if you look back down to in the picture to the ground, there is obviously a white luminescence at the base of it. I don't know what that's
Correct.
about.
That would be the focal point or the lens for the thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, this is very interesting. Very interesting. So it might have been a calling card to somebody or some group of bodies. Don't mess.
Or a demonstration of a certain level of knowledge. Certainly. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, these are the kinds of things that are fascinating, and if you hear anything else about that, I'd like to know, because when they put the rocket story out, I posted it, but I've seen too many. It just didn't work.
It was too pat. Yeah.
Didn't work for me.
It didn't pass the smell test right away.
No.
And then I started listening to some of these other sources. There's a lot of Ruski podcasti out there, and these guys are making nice little podcasts and discussing all the things that are going on in their version of the world, much of which does not, of course, reconcile with ours.
Fortunately, or otherwise.